Hello. I'm glad that everyone is able to travel and we're all excited about going from London to Rome. And I just wanted to get some information out to everyone. And I thought this might be the easiest way to get the information out. So I'll try to go through a couple of things and feel free to email me or text me or call me if you have further questions, which I'm sure you might because I'm just going to try to go briefly over some things I know, things in question. One deals with the mask, and of course, we will have to wear masks. Um, so make sure you have more than one mask. We may have to double mask. I don't know for sure. We'll get guidelines as it gets closer. Now, for COVID testing, that has not been finalized yet as far as the testing we'll have. And what we'll have to do is we travel in between countries and whether or not one country will accept the testing. The last thing I got from Trafalgar is that they will probably use the testing, our initial testing, and we'll be good for that. Also, new information is coming out about vaccinations and whether or not our vaccines will count towards some of the testing that we have to go through. And again, none of this is finalized and we still have some time. But just some things to think about. Getting that vaccine is probably going to be an important thing to do. And if you don't have your passport yet, I highly encourage you to get it done now. Start sending off for it. And really, if you have not sent off for it, you might want to expedite it because we don't know what's in the future and what's going to happen. When I got mine, I sent it off in March, right before the pandemic, because I didn't know. And it took almost 8 months for it to come because everything was shut down. So no, I don't anticipate it being 8 months for you to get yours. I'm just saying, because we don't know, if you haven't gotten yours, you need to get it now and probably expedite it. Also, you do need to have at least 6 months past your expiration date. So what I'm trying to say is if it's due to expire and you're on the trip, and let's say the trip is in October and your passport expires in November, that's not good enough. Your passport has to expire 6 months past the date of travel. So if you're close, renew your passport. Now, I need to talk about clothes. Some people do wear jeans. I'm not the fashion police, but there are fashion police that are located at the different museums. Your knees have to be covered and your shoulders have to be covered. If they're not covered, you do not get inside the museum. And there are police that are standing outside and they look at you and they pull you out of line and let you know you are not going in that museum if your knees are showing. But there are people also lined up to sell you things so that you can cover yourself. And so I tell everyone before you travel, make sure you have clothes that cover your knees and cover your shoulders. We should not have to worry about the weather being too hot. We're traveling during a time that's going to be anywhere between 55 and 75 degrees. So it just depends on the sun. It depends on where we are. It could be raining. So I don't anticipate us being in shorts or having short pants on. But you do have to have your knees covered. If you have a short dress on or it's right above the knee, no, it has to cover the knees. And if your shoulders are out, make sure you bring a shawl or a sweater. So it sounds like I'm talking to the ladies, but I'm also talking to men. Some men wear the shorts that are right above the knee Men need to have on slacks. I don't recall if anybody who had on jeans was told to leave, but I'm just saying, if you know museum is going to be part of what you're doing for that day, dress appropriately. Also know it's a different culture. So what is acceptable here is not accepted there. All right, let's talk about food. Oh, so the food is very good in a lot of places, but sometimes it's not. What are you going to do? You're not in America. You do as the Romans do. What I do when I go wherever I'm at, the first stop that I'm at, I make sure that I can stop and get me some cookies, and I keep cookies in my purse so that if I get somewhere and I don't like it, I'm going to eat my cookies. I'm not saying you got to have a cookie diet. I'm not saying that. I'm saying be prepared that you may like some food and it may be some food you don't like. They do cook things differently. Oh, but the pizza is delicious. There are a lot of things that are delicious. And you're going to like a lot of the food. So I don't want to scare you in that. I just want you to be prepared that things are different. Like breakfast, the bacon is different. It looks like it's not cooked. I think it's cured instead of how we're used to bacon looking. So I think I probably had a boiled egg. The breakfast is not an American breakfast. So even though we get 7 breakfasts, they're not the type of breakfast that, not an IHOP breakfast. Let me say that. Bathrooms. Okay. We do get bathroom stops. I'm thinking the lines won't be like they were because of COVID. But when you get a bathroom stop, you go. They prefer you not to go on the bus, but you can go on the bus. And it has to do with cleaning it out, and they prefer that you don't, and that's why they stop. And they stop every so many hours and let us off and stretch. And that's important to keep down the swelling. Also, we've been in malls and we've had to pay to go to the bathroom. It wasn't a lot. Not a lot. It was a coin type of payment, but it was a payment. So you will want to keep some coins, which leads me to the next one. My next point is on money. We'll be traveling through different countries, and you will want to have different forms of money. So euros is the biggest that you will spend, and euros are almost spent in all the countries. Last time I did the trip, I know I had pounds for London, I had euros, and I had some Dutch money. And some Swiss francs. And the reason why you need to have that is because some of the stops we have when we make the bathroom stops, they're not always places that are credit card friendly. It's kind of like going to a 7-Eleven in another country, but not the 7-Eleven in the U.S. that's set up to swipe for the dollar. So instead of charging $1 and getting the fees, if I want a bag of chips, I would use a euro or whatever it costs rather than swiping my card. So you want to have different values of money. And now is a good time to start doing it. And usually you order your money from downtown banks. You don't want to wait until October, because sometimes it might take a week to get money in. And usually it is a downtown bank. It's not your bank, your regular bank on the corner or whatever. It is a main bank that you would have to go to. I bank at Chase, and I can remember going to Chase, they ordered it. You might can get money quicker from a downtown bank, but if you go to one of your main banks like Chase or Bank of America, they still have to order it, and it could take a week, at least a week. I don't recall a credit union being able to provide that. So, things to think about. Also, with your credit cards, um, check for the fees and the conversions. Sometimes it's a fee to use the card in another country, and then there's a fee back at your bank, and you might pay double fees. It's a lot to get money out of the ATM. So while that's something you can do, I strongly encourage you not to do that. Not have your credit card where they don't charge exchange rates. Just something to think about, because that is important. And the last thing I want to talk about right now, it deals with the excursions. And we did send a list of the excursions, and there were some questions about whether or not you should pay for them now or pay them later. And we say you should pay for them on the trip. If you pay for them ahead of time and things change, it's not like you get your money back for that excursion. They'll offer you something that complements that, or an alternative to what you paid for. And it's just best to wait. We don't go on all the excursions. And remember, the tour on the bus is included. And you sometimes, it sounds like, well, I don't want to just ride around on the bus. But it is pretty detailed, even with that. And we have guides that are talking to us and letting us know what's going on. But in addition to that, you can pay for some of the excursions. And if you want to do them all, that's fine too. You want to take in as much as you can. For some, this is the start. For others, this might be a stepping stone to go somewhere else, and a one-time thing. So you might want to do all of them, and that's okay too. If you're only wanting to do a few, my recommendation, and what I usually do, Anthony and I always take the excursions that include food. Those tend to be the best ones, and those are the ones we do. I'll just give you a heads up. We did do the Montmartre one, and we enjoyed that, and that dealt with the art district. It wasn't food involved, but we were there long enough that we could go to one of the little side restaurants, and it was really nice. Oh, and they take a siesta, nap, something in the middle of the day, like for lunchtime, that we would be having lunch. They shut the stores down, and that's not the time to eat. So don't expect to have lunch when you're used to having lunch. Kinda, either you eat really good for breakfast and find out, I think 2 or 3, maybe 4 was when we could eat again. Or you eat right before they go to lunch, which would be 10. And we'll just have to kind of figure that out as we go along, because it gets more Americanized depending on the cities you're in. Like, we saw Starbucks in Paris, and that was cool. But again, things are going to be a little different because of COVID, and we don't know how different. We just know that it'll be different. I talk to them at least, well, not once a week, but sometimes once a week, sometimes 3 times a week. And I'm like, so what's it looking like? We do know that the bus will not be filled to capacity. That we do know that they have hired someone that is strictly in charge of making sure that the areas are clean, that everything is done according to what is needed for COVID. They're making sure the distance from us, between other people, is taken into consideration, and there's someone on the trip, and that's their only job, is to look out for COVID. So that's good. And that's all I know for now. And I look forward to traveling with all of you, and I'll update again And I don't know how I will. I'm trying this out, trying something different, and I welcome your feedback. Talk to you soon. Bye.